I also want you to generally consider what is an optimal amount of effort to put into your skills training. And with that, I'd like to borrow not just from my personal and professional experience with teaching lucid dreaming to other people, but also from the what's called the Yerkes-Dodson law. This is a law that says performance increases with physiological or mental arousal, but only up to a certain point. So as you can see here on this graph, we have the x-axis, which shows the degree of effort, or what some might call arousal or even anxiety, or the pressure you place on yourself to lucid dream. And this runs from low to high. And on the y-axis here, we have the rate of lucid dreaming, so the number of lucid dreams, for example. And this runs from low or 0 to a higher number or level. And you can see that as you put in more effort, you start to have more lucid dreams. If you're putting very little effort, you're not going to have many lucid dreams, most likely. However, putting high amounts of effort might also mean that you're putting too much pressure on yourself to lucid dream. And the more effort or pressure you put on yourself to lucid dream, the more you get this effect of diminishing returns, where you see less success at your practice. So if you're putting too much pressure on yourself to lucid dream, and let's say you're intensively doing the skills practices every single night, what this might look like is that you may not really be getting adequate sleep or enough sleep. Your sleep might be disturbed from all the time you're putting into these induction techniques. Or maybe your brain is just so full because you're spending so much time absorbing the content in this class that there's little processing power left in your brain to devote to actually inducing lucidity. So there are some things that you can be doing to overcome this issue. Number one, you should find a way to have some balance in your practice. You don't want to be going 100% full throttle every night on these practices, because for most people that's just not sustainable. So take breaks, balance this journey with other forms of self-care. Also, if you find that some of the induction methods are interfering with your sleep a little too much, it could also help to take a night or a few nights off so you can catch up on your sleep. I often recommend that if you get a little less sleep because you're doing these induction practices, then you may want to reserve having a focus on lucid dreaming for nights where you can sleep in a little bit, or perhaps on a weekend when you don't have any serious obligations, where you need a full night of sleep, where there aren't going to be as significant of consequences if you don't get a full night of sleep. And the other piece of advice I have is to take your time going through the modules. Don't just be so obsessive about this that it consumes you and drains you. And also repeat some of the modules and the exercises. You're not going to learn all of this in one fell swoop. You really want to learn these practices in a way where you're doing them correctly and you're doing them well, and they become very rote and easy to remember and easy to apply. And that's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen just by going through this material one time. Lucid dreaming does require some repetition in some of these exercises to really fully understand these practices.